Hi guys! So today I'm going to be doing the Epistolary Query Tag. I was tagged in this video by Cheryl over at Candlewick Library, and the original was created, I'm not sure if it was created just by Anne over at In Search of Wonder, or if it was by all of the hosts of Epistolary January. So the first question is, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being you hate them and 5 being you love them, how do you feel about epistolary novels? I'm going to say I land about a 3, where I'm just kind of indifferent. Like, if it's epistolary, that's fine. If it's not, that's fine too. I don't think I really have strong feelings either way. What is it about epistolary novels that you love or hate? Again, I'm kind of indifferent. It's interesting to see into a character's thoughts, definitely. But sometimes, like, you're lacking information based on the fact that you're limited by the format. So, either way, really. What is your favorite adaptation of an epistolary novel, or what epistolary novel would you like to see an adaptation of? I mean, I don't know if I've actually seen any adaptations of strict epistolary novels, so my only answer for this is Jane Austen novels. Because they usually include letters, especially Pride and Prejudice has some very important ones, and Persuasion does as well. Yeah, so, I mean, Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite adaptations of all time, so that one, I guess. The 95, obviously. What epistolary novel would you like to see an adaptation of? Alright, if you could do this right, it would need to be done by a Christian company, obviously, but a Christian company with a huge budget, so, you know, something that doesn't exist. Yeah, I wouldn't even trust Angel Studios with it. The theology is too deep. You probably know what I'm going to say based on that. Screwtape letters. I would be very fascinated to see a really good adaptation of Screwtape. I don't really know how you would do that, but still, that would be very fascinating. I've actually listened to an audiobook of Screwtape, so it's not quite an adaptation, but closest thing to it is that I've seen is there's an audiobook of Screwtape where it is read by Andy Serkis, who plays Gollum in Lord of the Rings, which is like the perfect person to be playing Screwtape. I think there is a stage play of Screwtape, but I've not seen that, so I can't comment on how good that is. The other one that I have is Tenant of Wildfell Hall, because I did really like that book. And so that would also be an interesting movie to see. I'm sure there are adaptations of that one. I've just not watched any. Alright, next. What literary character do you wish you could correspond with? I mean, I'm just going to be me and say Lucy Pevensey, because I would love to talk to her and write letters to her, whether it's when she's an English schoolgirl or when she is a Queen of Narnia. Either way, I would love to correspond with Lucy Pevensey. Who is a character from history that you wish you could peek into their real, unedited, uncensored journal? And I was going to think about this one and figure out my answer later, except it's later, and I never figured out an answer. Someone who's, well, it's not journal, but I would love to know what was in those letters that Cassandra Austen burned after Jane Austen died. So that's not journal necessarily, that's her letters, but still, I would love that. Anne Boleyn might be interesting. I really am fascinated by the character of Anne Boleyn. Or Elizabeth I. She'd be cool. Let's see. I can't really think of too many other people, really. So yeah. In case you didn't know what I was talking about with Cassandra Austen, Jane Austen's sister, after Jane Austen died, her sister burned a lot of her letters. So what we have surviving is not the bulk of her correspondence. And I think everyone is kind of fascinated to know what was in those letters that Cassandra burned. Sort of one of those, like, not the same as the Library of Alexandria, but kind of like the Library of Alexandria, where it's like, what was in that? Like, we want to know what was this that we don't have anymore. Alright. Next is, what is your favorite literary letter? Okay, so I have two answers. One of them is not actually a letter. It is just a description of a letter. I'm pulling up the other one because, well, even though it's the same as I think everyone else has said for this tag, still it needs to be read. But one of my favorites, which is just really funny, is in Pride and Prejudice, at the very end, it includes the text of a letter from Lizzie to her Aunt Gardner. And just talking about her and Darcy and how everything has come together. And then after that, the next line, and this is all that you get, is Darcy's letter to Lady Catherine was of a different sort. Just like you can imagine the letter between Darcy and Lady Catherine on this, like, in this context. I love that line so much. But of course, probably my favorite literary letter, if I can find it. Probably my favorite literary letter, as again, most people's here this has also been their favorite literary letter, I think. I can listen no longer in silence. I must speak to you by such means as are within my reach. You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. Tell me not that I am too late, that such precious feelings are gone forever. I offer myself to you again with a heart even more your own than when you broke it almost broke it 8 years and a half ago. Dare not say that man forgets sooner than woman, that his love has an earlier death. I have loved none but you. Unjust I may have been, weak and resentful I have been, but never inconstant. You alone have brought me to Bath. For you alone I think and plan. Have you not seen this? Can you fail to have understood my wishes? I have not waited even these 10 days. I had not waited even these 10 days, could I have read your feelings, as I think you must have penetrated mine. I can hardly write. I am every instant hearing something which overpowers me. You sink your voice, but I can distinguish the tones of that voice when they would be lost on others. Too good, too excellent creature. You do us justice indeed. You do believe that there is true attachment and constancy among men. Believe it to be most fervent, most undeviating in F.W. I must go, uncertain of my fate, but I shall return hither, or follow your party as soon as possible. A word, a look will be enough to decide whether I enter your father's house this evening, or never. Such a good, yeah, so obviously that, I don't know if I said before, that's from Persuasion by Jane Austen. Man, that is such a good letter. That's why there's a reason everyone in Austen circles calls it the letter. It's because it is so good. Yeah. All right. What novel that is not an epistolary novel do you think would work well as one? And I didn't write one down for this either. Let's see. I know several people have said Little Women, I think, which is a good answer. I'm trying to think of something slightly different. Jane Eyre would probably work pretty well as an epistolary, like as a journal. Let me be clear. Probably not as letters, because who would she be writing to? But yeah, probably Jane Eyre would work pretty well, I think. Yeah, that's about the only answer I've got right now, at least. Again, I forgot to write something down for this. I was going to think about it, and then I forgot to. If you were a character in let's see, which epistolary novel do you wish you could relive again for the first time? And I don't really know if there is one. Like I said, I've not read a whole lot of epistolary, and several of them that I'm thinking of are kids' books, and so I wouldn't want to relive them for the first time, because if I read them now, I would have nostalgia going for me, and so, I wouldn't want to read those as an adult for the first time, because, you know, I wouldn't necessarily trust that I remembered them accurately, or that I would like them as much, as an adult. But rather. Hey, buddy! Hubby and baby are outside, and hubby is lifting up baby so that he can see in the window. It's really cute. Let's see. If you were a character in an epistolary novel, what would your stationery look like? I don't know, probably pink with flowers. Like, there'd be pink flowers, like, at the top and bottom, probably. I don't know. Just cute little swirls and stuff. What is the first epistolary novel you can recall reading? The Laughing Princess of the Desert. This is a book that's about Sarah's traveling companion, Sarah of Sarah and Abraham, in the Bible. This book, I actually have a story behind getting it. I don't actually have a story behind the reading of it, but getting it. I remember I was very little, because we never did, like, it was at Awana, at not even the church that I grew up at like the church we were at before my dad became a pastor. And I saved up all my points and got this book because there was a book in the store, and I wanted the book because there was a book. And I really loved that book, actually. I read it quite a few times. In fact, I still remember, like, the very ending of the book. Like, the moral lesson at the end that it wraps up with. Still remember that very vividly. So, yeah. That's the first one I can remember reading. I also read the Liberty Letters books as a kid. So these are the other epistolary novels that I remember reading. Which literary character in an epistolary novel or otherwise would you write to for advice? Well, not Screwtape. That is kind of the whole point of that book, is writing for advice, but I would not write to him for advice, obviously, unless it was to get advice on what not to do. Probably the answer that I came up with, and you need to hear me out here, is Portia from Merchant of Venice, because Portia is a character who has almost no flaws. She is one of the best, most noble literary women of all time. And, like, from a classic, that would be my answer, for sure. I just thought of one, though, that would also be good, which would be Julia from The Governess of Highland Hall, I think, by Carrie Taransky. I just thought of this, like, as I was saying that. Because she is definitely a really great character as well. Very few flaws, very wise in her Christian, and strong in her faith. So yeah, her too. Tag 2 people, okay? I will tag, I don't know if either of these people have been tagged, but I'll just tag you anyway. I will tag Shannon from Old American Spirit. And let me tag, let's see, who to tag? I will tag Cora from Cora Mabry. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Let's see, let me know in the comments which character you would write to it for advice, because I think that's a very interesting question. And please like and subscribe. Hope you'll have a great day. Bye.